Here in Moscow, we have Graham Elwood. He is a regular on the Jimmy Dore Show, as well as host of The Political Vigilante on YouTube.
The healthcare industry gives to both parties equally, so the Democratic Party is still trying. The lunge to the left is just, oh, Bernie Sanders, you know, his policies are populist, and they're the most popular platforms out there. And so anytime I hear somebody like Liz Warren or Joe Biden have this, like, well, we got to have something for the private insurance industry, I know that they've then taken money from the private insurance industry because Medicare for all is bad for the 1%. You know, I don't agree that there's a liberal media in America. I think it's a corporate media. And, you know, that's what's happening. And so the Democratic Party, as we've seen time and time again, they would rather lose to Republicans than let progressives take over the party, because if progressives take over, they lose their gravy train. And they keep coming up with these crazy polls, even though Bernie Sanders is the only guy that has gotten 1 million unique donors. No one else has done that. And so the Democratic Party, almost like they want to rerun this, oh, we need a centrist to beat Trump, like Liz Warren, who in October of 2017, along with Cory Booker and 3 other Democrats, voted to give Trump an extra $80 billion for his war budget that he didn't even ask for. I mean, I can't sit here and listen to this. Or she wants to green up the military. That's her solution to climate change. It's like the people in the Middle East are going to rest easy knowing they're going to get bombed by rockets powered by biodiesel. Like Tulsi Gabbard talks an anti-war, anti-interventionist stance, and suddenly she didn't qualify for the last debates, despite the fact that she had, you know, the Democrats have this crazy Byzantine, on purpose, primary. They want to talk about Russia, Russia, Russia for 3 years. Why don't they talk about the own cheating they did in their own primary in 2016? The superdelegates are a joke. They're obviously using Liz Warren, who's a fake progressive. She's a capitalist and she's a war candidate, to steal votes away from Bernie Sanders. And what they need to do is policy. When you talk about somebody that says, Bernie's been saying this for 3 or 4 decades, Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness, free college tuition, end the wars, and a comprehensive Green New Deal. And everyone goes, how are you going to pay for it? Nobody asks how we're going to pay for the F-35. Nobody asks how we're going to pay for these 9 wars we're in.
Good question.
You know what? When we got to go to war with Iran, nobody asks what's it's going to cost. So the Democratic Party is deliberately keeping people like Bernie and Tulsi quiet so that they can put their corporatists back in there. If you want to go after Donald Trump, you can't just say he's bad. Go after things like he gave a $1.5 trillion tax break to his millionaire buddies. Talk about the fact that he ran on an anti-interventionist stance and hasn't held true to that. Yeah. Talk about the fact that his tariffs on China are hurting American farmers. Go after specific things he's done. You can't just say Trump, Russia, bad, bad, Trump, Russia, bad. It's not a campaign. I'm with her was the dumbest campaign I've ever heard in my life. She didn't get my back. I have to get the back of a rich white lady. Would I like to see Trump impeached? Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I think you could get him on the emollients clause, but ultimately it is a waste of time because 60% of Americans don't have $500 to $1,000 in savings. All right, there are 40 million people living in poverty in America. When Obama was in office, we went from 2 wars to 7. Okay, we need to stop. The 22 vets a day commit suicide because of PTSD from all these ridiculous regime change wars. All the neoliberals on the left talking Russia, Russia, do they want World War III? So this is another distraction because the Democratic Party cannot go, wow, look at how corrupt we are. Because again, if they point out, it's like a drug dealer pointing to another drug dealer going, you're corrupt. Both parties, we don't have a 2-party system in America. We have 2 classes. We have the ruling class, which owns both parties and all of the media. And then you've got the 99%. So if the Democrats actually were the party of FDR, they would go with policies that will help people's lives, like free health care, like student debt forgiveness. Millennials can't buy homes, like 30,000 people a year dying because they don't have health insurance. The number 1 cause of bankruptcy is health costs. So the people on the left, they hate Trump so badly, which I don't like him. I'm not a fan of him at all. But let me tell you something. Trump is just an egomaniac. You get an ideologue in there like Mike Pence, what's he going to do if he's president? Shock the gay out of people and outlaw lunch with women? That's the thing that they keep, that Kevin, all the major polls, the polls run by the corporate media, the polls run by channels that get funding from Boeing and Raytheon and all these other defense contractors. You know, when 2 debates ago, when Tulsi took out Kamala Harris and called Kamala Harris out, rightly so, on her fact she put 120,000 people of color behind bars as the attorney general of the state of California, Kamala was like, what? You can't talk to me that way. I'm the anointed one. I said 2 things. 1, I'm glad Tulsi did that. And 2, the DNC is not going to let that happen again. And no matter how she meets the number of donors, and they still find, this poll, they'll take this poll, but not that one. This is how they rig the system. This is how they weigh the scales. They're not a big white tent. They're a tent for the oil lobby, because if they really wanted to go after Trump, they would talk about his whole cabinet is climate change deniers, and we are facing complete climate collapse. But then you have Joe Biden say we need a middle ground on climate policy. Oh man, I love corporate centrism. It's such bold thinking. Like, if Joe Biden was alive in the 60s, he would have told Rosa Parks, don't move to the front of the bus. It's too crazy. It's too big of a purity test. Why don't you move to the middle of the bus and move up, in fact, 1 row at a time, wait a couple years, get bipartisan support, wait for the right polls to line up, and then we'll try to figure out ending that thing. The Democrats, aside from Tulsi and Bernie, have no bold leaders. They have corporate mouthpieces and lapdogs to power.
They need a progressive party. Bernie had that opportunity. He didn't take it. Opportunity to take his movement outside of the Democrat Party. Instead, he said, I'm going to work within the Democrat establishment. That doesn't work.
I agree with Alex wholeheartedly. He should have, in 2016, he had a moment. Chris Hedges said this. He had a moment there in 2016 to just go, let's start our own party. And he could have brought people like Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard, who stepped down from the DNC, and he could have started this third party. And all of us progressives that felt lied to and cheated in 2016, we probably would have gone on board with him.